And now we move on to our review of Joker, the 2019 dark reimagining of the classic comics character by road trip director Todd Phillips, also director of Old School and The Hangover.
Now, to be fair, he also directed the G.G. Allen documentary.
That's true, and War Dogs.
Yeah.
The recent War Dogs.
Who knew?
Who knew? Look, it was no secret going into this, at least between you and me, that this was my most anticipated movie for the rest of this year. The trailers had me. The pictures and photos and buzz had me. And just from gut reactions, it's a dogfight right now between this and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for my favorite movie of the year.
Well, Robert, I hate saying this, but I agree with you. I'm 100%. Those are my... Well...
That's interesting coming from you because I know you were skeptical going into this.
I was very skeptical of this because I was kind of like, I don't want to hear this bullshit like, oh, we're going to do a character study, man, because this is high art. I'm like, no, it fucking isn't. And then I was like, well, I'll be a son of a bitch. You got me.
This is so goddamn good.
Yeah.
In the worst and best ways.
Yes.
It's so fucking deeply unsettling, visceral, and and yet impossible to turn away from, and mind-searingly horrific, yet emotional and thematically resonant and well performed. I cannot help but include it amongst my favorites of the whole year, and I still cannot fucking believe that Todd Phillips made this. I don't believe you. I don't fucking believe you made this. It didn't happen.
Who knew, right?
What the fuck, dude? Oh my God. No way. There's no way you made this.
that you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I just still can't believe this got made and got made for a wide audience.
Yeah, and
let me just start off by saying, anyone who takes their kids to this, you're a bad fucking parent.
Yeah, you're like a few characters depicted in this movie, to say the least. Dude, fucked up beyond all recognition. Yeah. It is something else, and it's...
Yeah,
you get why Todd Phillips had to take an entire year to convince Warner Brothers to let him make this shit. The shit they do in this is like, wow. It's honestly like starting to grow as like there's no doubt in my mind this is a comic book movie.
Oh fuck that! It's not a comic book.
It's
movie.
Like this has to be one of the greatest undertakings any creative team has ever had to assume as far as comic book movies are concerned, and as far as like what's discussed in this fucking movie. Like they somehow made a movie that's more realistic than The Dark Knight. I never fucking thought I would ever say that. Now it's not better than The Dark Knight, but it's more real than The Dark Knight. That's so fucking weird to say. That's so weird.
That's because this wasn't a comic book movie, and this doesn't take away from the quality of the movie. Mm-hmm. But I guess if there's any detractor, isn't it kind of annoying that this is what it takes for us to see a movie like this?
Oh, it has to have an IP.
It has to have an IP, and Todd Phillips knew that. He did that. He's like, I'm going to trick all you motherfuckers.
He gamed us.
He done fooled us. And you know what? I'm kind of glad he did.
Yeah.
But this is a thing that I've kind of grown to accept, kind of like with Child's Play, which wasn't even close to this. But I thought that movie was serviceable, plenty good. Mm-hmm. But because Joker and Batman are they're essentially like...
They're embedded in... They're like the Christ and Satan of Western civilization and modern society. Like, in ways.
They're... Not to say that the writing is on the same level, but they're Shakespeare level of fictional characters.
Foils
or
to each other.
What I usually call Dracula level.
Yeah, dude.
To me, Dracula is just that thing where it's been done a bunch of times and there's been a lot of different takes and people have their views like, this takes the best, no, that takes the best. This movie is just crazy. Like, I just can't, like, I understand there's a lot of takes, but that's the thing is, like, I always hate when people say, well, my take is this. I'm like, bullshit, your take is probably going to be lame. But you know what? I was wrong this time.
You know what the thing is?
I was glad I was.
You know what the thing is, too, is, like, part of the reason why it's I would say it's it has to be included amongst the best of the year. Is like, look around you. Like, you can't swing a fucking cat without striking someone who has thoughts about this movie and its meanings and its implications. And
it's making waves.
For all of this to emanate out of a movie that's based on a fucking comic book character is like, it's amazing, and in the best way, no matter how exhausting, some of the discussions have been. It's so fucking crazy that this movie made fucking $230 million in its opening weekend. It made more money overseas, and it only cost $50 million to fucking make.
And it's just, look at the subject matter. And,
oh my God.
But you know what? I think it's good that we have a movie where this and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like, hey, audiences do want other things besides whatever, I know we just keep ragging on the same bullshit. No, I don't like the big blockbuster. But
no, I get
it. It's not that I don't like it. It's just something else is occasionally nice as well.
Yeah, like in an age where every comic book movie is compared to and like contrasted with every other iteration from its own canon, other canons, etc. It's like, I get why there's fatigue.
Right.
This is an antidote.
Right.
To that fatigue in many ways.
All right, and you want to know what I think a large part of that was?
Who dat?
This movie was basically a horror movie.
Holy shit, I was going to say, I'm like, this is the most frightening fucking movie I've seen all year.
Yeah, this movie honestly...
I'm glad it is.
Dude, it honestly freaked me the fuck out.
It's terrifying.
Because I saw this twice. In between, I had to go see Abominable. Not in the same day, but...
Just as a change of pace?
I was just like, I just need to see something happy and, like, normal.
Dude, no lie, and, like, this sounds like... I'm a millennial. Yeah. I don't like fucking hyperbole, but what I'm about to... I don't know how else to convey what I'm going to say, which is... Dude, there was a point in this movie where, like, I was shaking. Like, I was nervous. I was really fucking nervous. Like, it just put me in a place that was really gross, but, like...
Oh, dude,
I felt...
Yeah, I had, like... the butterflies in my stomach. This movie was making my fucking heart pound. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is insane.
But like again, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the more I thought about it in retrospect on the car ride home, in the week after, I'm like, fuck, that was good. That did exactly what it needed to do.
Yeah. So, you know what this felt like? To put that kind of feeling that you got from this type of movie? This is basically like someone made Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer for a mainstream audience.
You're absolutely right.
Because that movie is even more disturbing than this. It's also a very good movie.
Yeah.
However, that was made for less than $500,000, was probably played at just little festivals, maybe smaller theaters. This is like not on that level of disturbing, but
it's close.
It's close to being as disturbing. And guess what? That level of crazy shit was released to a wide release mainstream audience.
By a big 5 or big 4 studio.
Yeah, whatever the hell.
It is
since
now.
Disney just keeps eating them all up.
Right. Yeah, it's
like, oh, nope, hold on. I'm looking up right now. No, okay, there's 2 studios. I'm kidding. Anyway, yeah. No, that is really cool that they're willing to take this chance.
You're given a movie where the protagonist is, from minute 1, you're like, something's wrong. Like,
he's not really a protagonist.
Yeah, he's an anti-hero. You're like, I don't like this guy.
It's like another movie, it was an Australian movie called Simon the Ugly. Or I think it was just called The Ugly. Simon was the dude. Yeah, so it's like that, Henry, like, you're not... And that was one of the things, like, a lot of people are trying to say, like, this glorifies... what I disagree with that entirely, because I think what makes this movie interesting is Arthur, the main character, who becomes Joker. It kind of shows you just because shitty things happen to you does not give you the right to lash out.
And
or at least that's at least one of the messages I thought.
To quote another reviewer, one Mark Kermode said, "Pity is not the same as empathy."
Yeah, that was one thing I thought was interesting is, without giving too much away, at the start of the movie, he's sympathetic for about 10 or so minutes. But eventually, as things go on, it's the way he handles himself and reacts to the world around him, where regardless if it's his fault or not, eventually he becomes irredeemable.
There's one very clear moment, and it's the first act turning point in the movie.
Yeah.
Where Arthur does a thing. We won't tell you what it is.
So spoilers.
He crosses a line, and he does something that makes him not a likable character anymore. And you're like, oh, okay, I see where we're going with this. And I think the movie very elegantly straddles the line between showing you, like, yes, we're going to show you this movie from his point of view, and we're going to show you all of these environmental exterior factors that have shaped Arthur into being this character, but it also doesn't shy away from saying, no, this dude has agency. He is committing these wrongs by his own will.
Right. And, that's just part of this. This movie has a catharsis to it.
Dude, it's a high wire act of, like, moral pyrotechnics and, like, just unbelievable. Like, we got to talk about Joaquin.
We'll get there.
Oh, my word.
I'm just still like, this movie, it's just like stranger than fiction that got made.
It's
the
movie leading up to the movie is a story in and of itself.
Well, but just to talk about some general things in the plot before we get to Joaquin, and I think he's a big part of this, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Since it's a slow burn that takes its time, but it's done right, because what happens is the developments pile up.
Yes.
Much like the garbage in Gotham City since they're on strike, man. No, I'm just kidding. But the developments pile up, and they just get worse and worse and darker and darker. And, so simply put, this movie was not playing around.
No.
Yeah. Cinematography was really good, too.
Holy God, it looks so fucking sleek and
dirty. You want to know why the cinematography was really on point? It had that extra thing where it helps tell the story. Because I feel like that's people get too caught up in, it looks good, it's sleek or whatever. But a lot of times I'm like, but did that help the story, like move along the story?
Yeah, there's a
there's a lot of shots in this.
Yeah,
there's one I really, really like that I'll bring up in spoilers.
I was gonna say there's a couple I got to talk about in spoilers where I'm like, the way this scene is shot is fucking amazing.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's the kind of things where they work together. The cinematography and the script and all that shit comes together. They mesh.
Right.
Instead of it just feeling like, the cinematography, it's just like, we shot it and it looks nice. Like it helped, it
helped build the character to the environment.
Yes, it enhanced the story. So it helps tell the story rather than make it look pretty. So basically, this movie just gave no fucks at all. It's completely unflinching. And there's one general point I'll make before we move on to non-spoilers. I liked how there's points where like philosophical and ethical kind of things are discussed and even debated. But they're not resolved in a typical manner. And I think that's one of the things that I think this is one of the reasons this movie is kind of misunderstood, is because the movie doesn't really follow the general tropes of morality. Like, well, if the character's a bad guy, this is what has to happen at A, B, and C scenes. And because the character's a good guy, this is what has to happen at this point and this point in the movie. It didn't follow that, but you had to kind of read between the lines.
Yeah.
So I liked it's like, I wouldn't say nihilist, but it's just like, well, here's a dose of reality. Sometimes things don't just like always work out in certain ways.
Yeah. I
so
agree.
Fuck it. Let's move on to spoilers. All right. So
where do we begin?
Well, Joaquin.
God.
One thing from the get-go. Arthur's delusions are so uncomfortable.
Oh my God. Like that scene in the beginning with Robert De Niro where he's on
I can tell there's something special about you. It's
thanks, Murray.
Man.
They hug. Oh, it's like something's wrong. Like that's one of the scenes in the first act where you're like, I don't like this. This is not a normal person. And I don't mean that disparagingly, but like these are not normal thought patterns. This is very, very self-absorbed and very narcissistic. And like you immediately know where this is going as soon as it starts.
It's almost like childish fantasy, though.
Yeah,
like that, like the lack of
lack of social understanding.
Right, exactly. It's like, you know what it reminded me of, like weirdly enough, little Ralphie Parker's fantasies in A Christmas Story, because like the point of those are like he's a kid, he's thinking. Like bullshit, of course he is. He's a kid. He's like 9 years old. Of course he's gonna think crazy stuff, or like really exaggerate. Or sometimes like if a normal person will imagine shit like that, it's usually a daydream. There's like, that's funny. But Arthur seems so serious that he really thinks it'd be like that.
It's very much like a more serious version of something you'd call Rupert Pupkin-esque.
Oh God, yeah. That's the other thing. I heard a lot of people bitching about like, oh, this is a ripoff of this and that. It's like, First of all, shut the fuck up about this. Oh my God, there's two things in common with this movie with another movie.
Right.
Oh, it's a blatant ripoff.
Here's my rule with that too. It's like once you get past 2 movies, it's like then it's its own thing. Like people saying like it's like Taxi Driver meets King of Comedy with a bit of Fight Club. It's like no, then it's its own thing now.
Yeah.
Now you've crossed like well,
right.
It's literally plagiarism. It's like no, it's different now. You made it a different thing.
We can't have 2 movies about a person who's a stand-up.
No, I guess not.
we can't have 2 movies about some strange sort of uprising.
Yeah, or some person who's delusional, imagining characters and
you go,
all that noise. But
right.
Joaquin, dude, yeah, the delusions are terrifying because it's just like this guy's not on the same wavelength as people.
Yeah,
there's something wrong with him.
Yeah. So again, to go back to what I was saying about earlier when we were talking non-spoilers about how the audience is tested in their ability to sympathize or pity and then sympathize and then like make it this like eventually you make the decision when he kills the dudes on Wall Street.
Yes.
And
specifically
the
final dude.
Yeah, because you thought
okay, those 2 guys on the train.
The one guy was maybe self-defense.
Yeah, other guy,
and even,
whatever.
Even still,
then
it's like, yeah,
he fucking he tracks the guy down and executes him. And holy shit,
it's the way he walks and moves.
That scene,
it's like a man. He's possessed.
That scene is terrifyingly well shot. It's the angles of just like him stalking down the platform is like. It's so fucking haunting.
That shot where he like peeks out the car. Oh,
it is chilling, and
didn't something just like you felt like I don't know about you when I went the first night that I went the first showing I saw just like the air went cold for a second.
No, it's like it's weird. It became not entertainment in the best way, or like I'm watching an actual crime unfold.
Yeah,
there's something horrifying about it. Well, the manner, the not, and that's the other thing people are saying. Like, well, the violence is like glorifying. I'm like, what about this violence is glamorized?
Yeah, I was gonna say like the violence in this is actually extremely realistic.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Yeah,
you don't feel clean watching any of these people get hurt.
That's why like I felt like because again. Now, viewing 1, I watched Abominable. Viewing 2, I put on some Sonic.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
Put on some Sonic and some Hey Arnold. Like, I'm telling you, I just needed, like, I felt like my brains were, like, fucking kicked in after seeing this 2 times.
Yeah, dude, my stomach was in knots.
But I don't know why. I'm like, I feel like I need to see this again. Because I wanted to make sure it wasn't, like, a fluke and then I was caught off guard. I'm like, I need to see this again knowing what's going to happen.
How'd it go?
And it was basically the same reaction. It's like, this is not action movie violence.
No, it's
not at all.
It is absolutely, it's like we said, it's horror.
This is a horror movie. He's a serial killer, essentially.
Pretty much. Oh, man.
Yeah, but his performance in that scene, like the way he kind of walks with dart, like very stiffly towards the guy. Yeah, the last guy before he kills him.
He's in his element. That's what's scary.
It's all of a sudden he becomes a predator.
He's found himself now, and he honestly, like people say, like he becomes the Joker. In the final scene, I'm like, I think he becomes the Joker then when he fucking stalks that dude and executes him on the stairs.
Right.
Like that is the first moment where you. And that's the part where I don't understand some of the people who say, yeah, this movie makes you feel good about Arthur's choices. I'm like, that scene is not fun to watch.
I felt bad for that guy, even though it's like, well, because this is the thing about like the movie and how it kind of poses ethics. Mm-hmm. Like throwing fries at someone is pretty awful. Mm-hmm. But do you deserve to be shot to death for that?
Exactly. No. And the other thing, and this is another existential issue that a lot of people have brought up, in that it's like, what the fuck did you expect the Joker origin movie to be? Like,
that's a good point, because it's like
what the Joker is. Like,
he is a murderer.
He's a mass murdering supervillain.
That's kind of what I thought was so interesting about this movie. It kind of took the idea, like, think about any like generic like Disney villain, like, ooh, I'm Maleficent, or like I'm Jafar. It's like, if you're a bad guy, Jafar, it probably means you've killed a person or two. Right. Like that's what everyone forgets. Like you maybe have like executed someone.
Right. This isn't the Cruella de Vil movie where we find out why she wants to murder fluffy dogs.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, but, those dogs were dicks to her, and they do deserve to die. It's like, no, this Joker movie, you're like, okay, so this guy's not a good dude.
No, and it's just like, it took the idea of a villain, and they're like, this is what a villain is. Mm-hmm. Just so you guys know, in case you had any doubts about what a villain truly is.
One of the things that we talked about beforehand was, why did this need to be a Joker/Batman mythos movie?
Right.
And I think I figured out why.
Why is that?
So one of the big issues in this movie that people had with it was there's no likable characters in it. And I completely disagree. You know who the only likable character is in this?
I got one.
Who?
Brian Tyree Henry.
He's great. But no, dude, the only likable character in this is Bruce Wayne. And the only reason why is because as soon as he shows up, you, being an American, not even American, a Western society person who knows that that's young Batman, you immediately identify with him. You're like, that's child Batman. So you immediately feel good about him. And you don't want to see shitty, bad things happen to him. And here's Arthur Fleck.
Right, you're worried about him.
You're worried about him. And, like, that whole element of, like, Arthur Fleck being a damaged child who was fucked up as a kid, turning into this monster that creates a monster that essentially damages another child and fucks him up, that child being Bruce Wayne,
right,
repeating the cycle of abuse and trauma. It's fucking amazing. And it lends for, not an entirely comic accurate, but a really neat, and I thought, fucking really brilliantly done reinterpretation of the origin of Batman.
Yeah.
I love that fucking scene with him and Bruce.
Yeah.
So chilling. It's, God damn it,
because you're just like, oh my God. Like,
get
everything
away
from him.
You're like, this is the beginnings of the greatest rivalry in the history of fucking comics, dude.
Yeah.
God, I love it.
No, and it's funny you mentioned that everyone's a dick. Is like, this movie kind of doesn't pick sides, and that's what I like. Is it's not so cut and dry. Mm-hmm. Like, there's some things that Arthur is not like right about, and it's that he goes about it completely the wrong way.
Right.
It's like, he shouldn't be bullied by people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he should, not be getting the shit kicked out of him for like
10 times a week.
Yeah, for spinning a sign.
Yeah.
Like, but guess what? That doesn't the way he goes about it and the way he handles it is wrong. Yeah, he should have a shrink that listens to him more.
Yeah.
But it's like, what the fuck? How do you know that she's not just as stressed as you are, Arthur?
Right.
She's got problems too. And guess what? The one person who tried to help you, Arthur, Tyree Henry, he tried, man. And that's out of his element. He's like, look, I'm just a paperwork guy. Like, I can't really do this. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, you should try and get help. Oh, well, they cut funding. At least he tried, which is more than, most people who work in clerical work would say to him. Like, I think the average would be like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Go away.
Yeah.
He tried to at least be nice to him.
Right.
But Arthur was unable to recognize that. Instead, his narcissism got the best. No, I need to see the file. I must see it. Mm-hmm. Then headbutts the goddamn the chicken wire that he's hiding behind. Mm-hmm. Or, not hiding, but working behind.
Right.
I kind of love that because I was thinking, Tyree Henry's a pretty big dude. I feel like he's going to win this struggle over this folder. I'm like, okay. I think he'd let go if that happened.
Yeah, no, it's a great scene.
It's another thing. He just loves headbutting shit.
Loves headbutting shit. You know what else he loves?
What's that?
Man, he just wants to dance.
Yeah. I was worried I was going to find it like super pretentious, and if anyone's going to say that's a problem,
Sure.
I
don't know.
Thought it fit the character though, because
I felt it was just very creepy.
I don't like because it's like, you got to think it kind of goes along with it. He's probably just imagining shit he is like, hey, I heard you're a good dancer. Thanks.
You know who's not? That guy over there.
You know what I love about that scene? That shook something loose
In him?
Yeah.
It also shook something loose in me, because I was like, oh, shit. It's like the first time a gun goes off. You're like, oh.
Exactly.
Scary.
You know, this movie, just like, not to compare this to such great literature, but I will. Just like, spoilers for hundreds of years old books, Of Mice and Men. Just because you see the tragedy coming from a mile away doesn't make it any less impactful or jarring or whatever.
Yeah,
that's the same thing here. You're clued into what's going to happen. Like the gun goes off and you think, oh fuck, something has been shaken loose, and then he shoots the Wall Street guys. And it's like, now things have really escalated.
And the fucking scene, I've just thought about it again. The children's hospital scene.
Oh my god!
It's just like there's so many scenes where I was like, no. I
just thought like, what fucking like gall to fucking make a scene like that.
There's some bile, man. Like Todd Phillips had some bile to spew, and the screenwriter, Scott Silver, who, god damn it, man, the writer of he wrote The Fighter, and I think he worked on 8 Mile. God damn it, him and Todd Phillips really crafted something here that's just, I'm never gonna forget this.
Yeah.
Of 2019 films, it's up there for the one I won't forget.
Yeah,
one of the only few.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing about the way how everyone sucks. This is, as TV tropes would put it, the ultimate crap sack world movie.
Yeah.
It's just like you think about the world he's in, and he doesn't try to look for positive. Instead, it's like, oh, the kill the rich protesters, but then Thomas Wayne and like company, they're kind of dicks too.
Yeah, and he sees that fucking kill the rich thing, and he's like, this is a good movement to hijack, and because people like me here at the end.
He doesn't. That's like the craziest part. It's like he doesn't really seem interested in anything they're talking about. He's just like, oh, I'm glad I'm causing chaos.
Yep.
Which is all what Joker is all about.
It sure is.
All about that chaos. There's this, right after that scene, there's one of my favorite shots of the movie is when he's dressed up as like the usher.
Oh yeah,
and he's just standing in the middle of the
aisle.
The aisle.
Watching Charlie Chaplin.
What a great shot.
Dude, there's so many in this.
Because
it's so well framed.
It's so well framed because it's like
low angle.
Well, it's him imagining himself like, yeah, I think I could do that. Like he's so enthralled with what everyone's watching. And then there he is standing up while everyone else is sitting down like, oh, I think I could do this.
There's another scene, too, like the scene where he's, like, practicing his entry onto the Murray Franklin show.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Nightcrawler, where he's, like, trying to, like, pretend to be normal.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is... Yeah. I don't like this at all. Yeah,
it's just...
goddamn, it's good.
So unsettling. Another interesting thing was about how his delusions made him kind of an unreliable narrator.
Yeah, did all of this happen or not?
Well...
The way that we think or the way that he remembers.
No, fuck that. It happened except for the shit that they clearly showed didn't.
Right.
All right? Fuck everyone and their dumb theories, goddammit. Sorry, I have... That's a pet peeve of mine, just with all sorts of fiction, whether it be books or movies. No, fuck you. All of it happened except for the stuff where they showed that it clearly didn't.
Right.
The Zazie Beetz character was interesting for that reason.
Yeah.
Because, what happened too is I thought during the hospital scene, I'm like, where the fuck did she go? I'm like, oh, that's why she disappears, because she wasn't there. I really liked that. I thought that was a cool aspect because that's part of... It shows you how his kind of disconnect from the real world kind of exacerbated his problem.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, man. There's so much to like. So much to love in this.
All right.
In the worst way, though. Because I love this, and I know it's a movie that doesn't love me back.
Yeah, it doesn't. It gives no fucks what you think.
It certainly doesn't.
Which is kind of... It's just so crazy. But I like that they were willing to go there. So... Let's talk about the fucking one of the major turning points towards the end of the movie. The talk show scene.
Oh yeah, well that's the climax of the movie.
Hold on, let's go through all the murders. We're going through the body count like it's a horror movie.
Oh god,
all right, we got Wall Street guys. Kills them first.
Oh Jesus, yeah, I forgot about a couple others.
Oh my God, we forgot the creepiest one, in my opinion.
The one with the
where he kills
his friends from
the clown place.
Yikes!
Oh man, because I felt like I was having an out of body experience.
Why?
I'm like, what is going on? What universe am I living in where this is a movie that's a mainstream movie based on a comic book?
You're
what
like,
going on?
I saw Spider-Man Far From Home a couple months ago.
Yeah,
and this is coming out in the same year.
Wow, this is taking a big swing.
Yeah.
Perhaps bigger swings than that guy's head against the
Shazam came out earlier this year and is from the same studio.
Yeah,
and that is nothing like this.
See, that's the thing, though. I think this has a lot in common with Shazam. This movie, I think we're getting. There's one thing we're getting wrong about the Joker. It's really a heartwarming, fun movie. It's about how love conquers all, and what really counts is family. No, it is none of those things. But that scene where he's just bashing his head against the wall, I'm like,
oh my God.
Someone please explain to me how this is like fun or cool or whatever.
Which Warner Brothers execs was watching this? Like, how are they watching this in the screening room? Like with Todd Phillips, like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm blown away.
Do you think you could have him hit his head against the wall one more time?
Yeah, can we get that reshot?
Yeah, I think just one more bash ought to do it. I think the second time I counted.
Really?
It was like over 10.
It's crazy too because he stabs him with scissors first.
Well, yeah, and then his other friend, the little person. Mm-hmm. Oh my God!
What a terrifying! Like
you were so worried because that's the other thing is. I was talking about this with one of my friends. Mm-hmm. He was saying, like, the reason that scene wasn't glorifying the violence is because you feel bad or you're worried about him.
You're in his place, not Arthur's place.
Yeah.
And, like, the other thing about that scene, too, is it's very similar to again, we've been referencing it a bit here, but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the climax there, that scene where, you know, you have all the Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio and the Manson people, that being a really, really intense but, like, delicate blend of, like, horror, terror, comedy, action. Like, this is the same deal. It's, like, terror, but, like, a little bit of dark, jet black comedy where you're like,
God. When he fakes him out,
yeah, you're like, what am I supposed to feel?
You want to know what's weird? Both showings, you want to know what happened? The laughs, though they were sparse, everyone laughed at different things.
That's very interesting.
Because a lot of people were unsure what to make. I think part of that's like, hey, this is supposed to be like one of them Quentin Tarantino things, right? the bloody parts are supposed to be funny, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I laugh?
Those, I'm telling you, there were scattered laughs, and I felt like there's no communal laughs at either showing.
There was only one in mind. It was the part where he walks into the open door, or he walks into the hospital sliding door.
Yeah, no, okay, that was one for sure.
Mm-hmm. But that was it. But yeah, no, it's like everything else was like, I feel like either nervous laughter or like people trying to blow off steam laughter, which is kind of the same as nervous laughter. But yeah, this was a weird movie to see in the theater in a good way, I would say.
And you know another great thing about that scene is? That chilling moment where it's like, you were the only one who was nice to me. Mm-hmm. And
he kisses him on the head.
And guess what? There's another. That's Arthur, missing what's good around him, not counting blessings.
That's the narcissism talking.
Yes.
You're the only one that was good to me.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, and then he kills his mom, too.
Oh, yeah, Penny Fleck.
Yeah, talk about them using a line from the trailer in a different way than I thought.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a fucking comedy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, Arthur was not playing around.
As I said earlier, if you take your child to see this movie, you're Penny Fleck.
Yeah, you're a terrible parent.
You're not a great mom.
Yeah.
And that whole element, too, of like...
Oh, her delusions? That's so funny. It was so funny because I thought when she was talking, I'm like, she sounds like she's full of shit. She sounds like she's crazy. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw her writing the letter, I thought, okay, where's this going? And then as soon as you realize it's bullshit, I'm like, aha, of course. Well, because she came off as such a delusional crazy lady.
Well, and that comes just from also her nickname, her pet name for Arthur. She calls him Happy.
Yeah.
And that's her either misinterpreting his laughing disorder or using his laughing disorder as something to explain away his nervousness and his pain that he's really... That's why he's laughing, is because he's doing it out of pain and trauma. And she calls him Happy because he's laughing, and she's really lying to herself.
Real quick, even though it's just a short scene, whoever that actress was, just that line, he's such a happy little boy.
Oh, the younger Penny?
Freaked me the fuck out. Even though it's just one little scene.
Flashback too, because Arthur's there.
Yeah, God, I love that.
So many good choices. Yep, that's because even when the flashback happened, I'm like, oh, we're doing a flashback, and then Arthur's there, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good choice. I like that, Todd.
The other thing is about
even though you didn't direct this movie,
about Arthur and the crap sack world he lives in. It does make kind of a point. It's you can't just I think one of the things is, I guess I don't know if it pointed this out directly, but it's just kind of you can't just ignore things and not expect... this movie kind of made a point where it's Arthur has some mental illnesses that he can't help. Mm-hmm. And the world around him, it didn't really help.
Yeah, there's been a systemic fuck-up.
Yeah, I think that's part of what the movie was saying, is that in order for things to work, systems have to be in place. But I think it's systems and individual responsibilities exist.
Yeah, there were things initiated. There are things that were self-motivated by the protagonist, by the anti-hero.
Well, I wouldn't even call him an anti-hero.
He's the villain of his own story.
All right, so of the main character.
The main character. There's things initiated by him that are initiated by him. The delusions are all him. I mean, they're mentally founded, and they're probably exacerbated by things such as mental illnesses, but it's
and the abuse
but
that he suffered as a kid.
Him retreating into his fantasy world and living there and going off and executing a guy when he could have easily let well enough alone and called the police and said, hey, these guys were beating me up. Those are choices made by Arthur that I think are very clearly founded, and it's again, It also doesn't shy away from acknowledging, that he also has these mental illnesses, and there were systemic breakdowns.
Right.
There was psychological health care that wasn't available to him. It's very nuanced. It's no, it's not either or, motherfucker. It's all of the above.
Yes, exactly. It does. That's what I was saying about the way it treats morality. Mm-hmm. So, certain things happen because that's just the way it goes, and certain things happen because those are the consequences.
Right.
So now let's move on to the talk show scene. Oh, holy shit.
This is acting heavyweights duking it out. I thought the scene was... Because when I'd heard about this scene going in...
Yeah, I kind of knew. I heard... This is one of those things I heard about the ending, too, as a rumor, and it turned out it was true.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be...
Didn't make it any less shocking when he fucking shoots him right in the head.
I thought it was going to be a lot shorter, but there's a real long build-up. And it's amazing, because it's just him ranting and arguing and being awkward, and it's just an incredible mounting build-up to this huge oh fuck no moment for the audience, and you see it coming a mile away.
Yeah, and there's a perfect example of the nuance. It's you invited me on the show to make fun of me, you asshole.
Yeah,
and he's right, but at the same time, that does not give Arthur the right, even in the remotest sense,
and that's
to do what he ends up doing.
Exactly, and the nuance there is you're I don't like either of these people, but De Niro is clearly saying the most right things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wrong, Arthur. You killed people. You can't kill people. Saying all the right things, but there's nuance in that. It's this guy's a piece of shit that's profiting off of making fun of the mentally ill. So it's so dark and god damn it, it's oh fuck.
You want to know what's so effective about it?
What's that?
It being in a talk show setting, you feel like you're in the audience.
I'll tell you what.
You in the studio. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what. This is made going back and watching Joaquin Phoenix on the press tour for this movie on shows like Jimmy Fallon and shit very weird to watch.
Oh yeah, because it's like, oh my god, so tell me about this movie where oh my god, I'm just such a big fan. You just like shoot those Wall Street guys. That was so awesome. Oh my god, I just love your movies, man.
It's so weird to watch those and knowing what happens in this movie. You're like, oh, why as the PR person would you ever let him on a talk show because of what happens in this movie?
Yeah,
but it's
so he shoots
chilling.
him, and then he says that you get what you fucking deserve in that chilling line, and then what's so fucked up is he really follows through with the Zombieland double tap rule. Mm-hmm. My God, like who does he shoot just once? No one.
Yeah.
Except for like maybe the first Wall Street. No, fuck it. I think he shoots like he's crazy. But anyway, my friend and I were talking about this movie, and he made a point about the 24-hour news cycle. It starts with the radio at the very beginning, and as soon as he shoots him. You want to know what kind of is like weird, eerie about that? The nature of the news. There's a certain disconnect. Oh, that guy who was on the TV, he just got shot. Mm-hmm. Where when you're in the studio, quote unquote, or where you're watching that scene as it happens, you're like, oh my God, he murdered him. But then it just becomes, just another news story.
There's shades of network.
Yeah.
In ways with what the fuck is the Peter Finch character?
Right.
He gets killed on TV in his own show.
So then Joker is hauled out, but then he is taken by his
cohorts, new henchmen?
His new henchmen, whatever you want to call them. And then there's that chilling goddamn moment where he draws the blood smile.
Oh, man, that's amazing.
Oh, my God. And I just thought, wow.
This is the movie that
you did. That worked. That worked. That was extremely effective.
It's about as good of a Joker origin movie as is possible.
Yeah. Also, real quick, the score.
Oh my God. Her name is Hildur Gudnadóttir?
Something Icelandic.
Yeah. She did the score for
the Chernobyl show. Yeah, the documentary. There's something so the guttural low tones. They're just they just I don't know how to put it. They seem to like go well with the whole like motif that he's becoming a predator.
Yeah, it's scary. It's a scary score for a scary movie.
And it's like that part where he gets up on the car and starts dancing. It's like this guy is a fucking lunatic.
Yeah,
he really thinks this is good.
In the last scene.
Yeah.
We find he's probably been retelling all of this, we think, to a new therapist.
Yeah.
And he says, what does he say? He's laughing.
And then she says, what's so funny? And he says, oh, it's just a joke. I don't think you'd get it.
But then it intercuts with
him running back and forth in the halls, stepping, with the footprints of blood.
Well, before that, it's when he says, she's laughing. She's like, what's so funny? And he's like, you wouldn't, or he's like, I was just thinking of a joke, but you wouldn't get it. And intercut in there is like footage of Bruce Wayne over his fucking dead parents. And I'm like, oh shit, is this like the Joker?
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that. It's like, here's an interesting way to, because it's like Joker killed his parents indirectly,
and he
in a weird way.
This, and he's like, what did I just start?
Yeah.
Did I just make this kid, like, did I just set this kid down a path that I kind of went down and trying to...
He doesn't give a shit, though, because he's just happy that he's noticed.
He's happy that he's noticed.
People are finally noticing.
Yeah, he's happy that he's noticed, and he's happy that he exists, and he's left craters in the world around him.
I think that's, the cycle he started, and the whatever, the movement, I don't know if you'd even call it that, but the chaos he started, it's kind of a cautionary tale in a little bit of ways.
It's a horror movie, really.
It's a horror movie. It's a cautionary tale. It's a lot of things. So, I guess we'll move on to scores.
I feel like we have to.
Well, this is obvious for me. Perfect score. 5 out of 5. The first of the fucking year.
It took 10 months.
Yeah.
But you got a 10 out of 10 from me as well. It is...
Oh my God. That's a double perfect score. Perfect 15 out of 15.
Well deserved.
Yeah. So that'll do it for our review of Insane Clown Posse Rising.